Brian Lilley knows all the answers as to whether Donald Trump is going to change his mind. And he joins me now because so many Canadian politicians and business people are saying, oh, we'll convince them, and he will then withdraw and change and go back. I don't think there's a chance in hell of him withdrawing the tariffs.
I have no idea what Donald Trump's going to do, and this is the frustration.
He's not gonna change his mind.
Well, he might.
Well, he'll do it for the autos.
Because he has. And look, I have spent the last several months trying to understand Trump. I've interviewed Steve Bannon. I've read Stephen Marin's paper. He's now part of the administration, all about how they're using tariffs and why they're using tariffs. And I spent all this time. And then Howard Lutnick gets in as Commerce Secretary and gives 3 different answers in a day on what's going on. And look, quite frankly, I'm confused. Look, but I will say this. Trump's tariff threat is making us do things that we should have done long ago.
He's a Canadian hero.
I'm not sure most Canadians would agree with you on that, Stephen.
He's forcing Canada to do things that they should have done. You're right.
Internal trade barriers, we're getting rid of them. Tim Houston in Nova Scotia says, I will recognize any provincial regulation or certification as long as that province recognizes Nova Scotia's. Doug Ford says he's going to do the same.
How smart is that?
Scott Moe saying that we'll approve any pipeline proposal that comes through.
And what about a pipeline to the eastern provinces?
Yves-François Blanchet, the leader of the Bloc Québécois, is still saying no. Polling still saying no in Quebec. Francois Legault, the premier, sounding like maybe that could happen.
How about exporting LNG?
Well, that's what should be happening. Look, the day that the tariffs actually took effect and Trudeau did his big performance, on his way out the door, I thought, okay, well, it's good you're going to stand up for Canada and you're going to do all these things to fight the tariffs. What are you doing next? And that's the question every Canadian has to ask every elected official. What are you doing next to unleash the Canadian economy? And if it doesn't include things like LNG exports or pipelines or getting rid of internal trade barriers, then you're just performative, and you are just trying to show that you'll thump the chest and say you'll stand up to Trump, but you're not willing to do the hard work that needs to be done.
Well, this is the question, who is willing to do the hard work? Because we are going to be probably going into an election. We have either an inexperienced prime minister, inexperienced cabinet, or we're having somebody who's campaigning for election, and then we have hopefully a new government, whoever it is, it's going to be a new government. I mean, Canada is behind the 8 ball.
So look, you've got Pierre Poilievre, who has an actual plan that lays it all out. And you've got Mark Carney, who says, I'll make the big polluters pay. And then you say, who are the big polluters to Mark Carney? Steel mills. So what does that mean? It means Algoma and Sault Ste. Marie probably shuts down. And Dofasco, owned by ArcelorMittal, probably shifts production to Detroit, to Ohio, to elsewhere.
I mean, Canadians aren't going to pay at all.
It's ridiculous that he is promising to do to the Canadian economy. Carney is promising to do to the Canadian economy what Trump is threatening to do. And some Canadians are saying, yes, absolutely, more of that.
Liberals think he's going to win. So, for another day, Brian Lilley, always good. Thank you. 3 minutes. To those of you who have subscribed and donated, a heartfelt thank you. You're keeping us on the air. If you're watching and you haven't, please try to do so, because 4 years ago we started this show because there needed to be independent analysis. Now more than ever, with the Online Harms Act, once that gets into law, it's been passed once by the House, there are going to be hundreds of bureaucrats censoring the news in Canada, censoring this show. We need to keep it on the air. Thanks for your support.